Sharp Game here, back with another video. In this video, I want to talk about problems you might have if you marry a Japanese girl. Now, if you're moving to Japan, whether you're in the military, whether you're getting a job, you're going to be at a disadvantage because you really don't know anything. You're going to know very little moving to Japan. So you're really at a huge disadvantage because most women you meet, they're not going to tell you everything. They're not going to tell you anything that really matters, anything that's going to make a big difference in you living the best life you can in Japan, regardless of how long you live there, how long you plan on staying there. Because for the most part, Japanese women, they don't like talking about a lot of stuff because they weren't raised to have crucial conversations or critical conversations, because they were raised to not talk about controversial stuff, because they think that's going to keep harmony in the household or amongst her friends. Only problem with that is, in order to solve problems, you have to have the tough conversations. Otherwise, you're not gonna get very much little accomplished. So that's how most Japanese were raised. Now, there's different types of Japanese girls, but the ones that you're gonna meet they're probably gonna be average women, and they're gonna be just like I just described to you, very easygoing, don't like to have crucial conversations or bring up anything controversial, and they have that military philosophy: don't ask, don't tell. So they're not gonna really tell you anything unless you ask, and you're not going to know what to ask because you haven't been over there long enough. So by the time you do ask most of your questions, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be too late, or you're going to be already married, you're going to have kids already, you're going to be already established, and then you're going to be like, oh, I wish I would have known this early, or maybe I would have done this differently, maybe I would have done that differently, or maybe I wouldn't have got married. So those are some things you should be aware of. And plus, you have to understand that the family is critical to your success, having a successful marriage, because the family and friends influence the Japanese girls to do a lot of things. And if the parents don't like you, they might try to form a wedge and break y'all up. So if she can't think for herself, don't have her own mind, it's probably not gonna work. And if y'all move from Japan to America, it's probably not gonna work either. So I wouldn't recommend you leave Japan and move to America, because damn near everybody I know that moved to America from Japan, damn near, I'm gonna say about over 90% of marriages, it failed. They end up getting a divorce because you have to understand the environment influences women and just people in general to do certain things. And when people come to America, or women come to America, Japanese women come to America, they want to fit in. They don't want to be trailblazers or trendsetters or anything like that. So the side that's winning, that's the side that they're going to lean on. And let's just be honest, white guys are winning in America. So when they come over here, they'll pick that up through osmosis and observing, and then they'll get a job, hang out with the co-workers, and make some friends with the other Japanese girls that's here in America. And then they'll get influence, and before you know it, she'll start coming home, start telling you and trying to talk to you in ways that you never seen or heard before. And that's going to throw you off, and of course you're going to get upset. You won't like that, but no man that thinks highly of himself would tolerate any type of disrespect. But this is what happens. But by that time, you have kids, probably done got house together and all that shit. So now you get to a point where it's like, you can't take no more. And then, if she wants a divorce, which most women put up for divorces in America, most women, they want divorces in America. If she wants a divorce, she probably already got another guy lined up, or at least thinking about it anyway. And now you paying child support and alimony and all that shit, and the amount is dependent on what state you live in. And that's all because, there's a lot of stuff you just didn't know enough. You just didn't know enough about her. You didn't know how the environment influences women to behave and do certain things. And plus, who she hangs around makes a difference as well, because birds of a feather flock together. So that's absolutely critical, so plus there's just there's a lot of things you have to really consider. And marriage is a business, man. And if you don't believe it, go down to the local courthouse Monday through Friday. The district attorney, the judge, and the attorneys, they cashing in. So it's not all about love all the time. There's a lot of things you have to consider, especially living in America. Now, living in other countries is not so much. The rules change a bit because women don't have as much leadway as they do in America. So, because in America, we live in a capitalistic society. So, there's a lot of things to consider. And you should pay attention to the relationship she have with her parents, especially her father, because that's the first relationship she had with a man. And that relationship is going to be dictated and predicated on how she treats you, how she sees you as a man. Because if she had a bad relationship with her father, she might be giving you a hard time for some bullshit that her dad did 20 years ago. So It's just a lot to think about, man. You just have to observe and ask a lot of questions. And, but it takes time to really get to know somebody. It takes at least, about 7 years to really get to know somebody well. That's why in marriage, they say 7 years is the magic number. If you can get past 7 years, y'all might survive and be together for a long time. 7 is a magic number. But it's just a lot of things that you have to consider before you get married, and you're not gonna know everything. You're gonna know just enough to make a decision if you choose to. But in my opinion, it's gonna be very tough to make a decision to get married to this woman, regardless of how long you've been in Japan. And then another thing is, don't take on any responsibilities that you can't maintain long term. When in doubt, don't do it. That's my philosophy. When in doubt, don't do it. And don't let these women influence you or manipulate you to take on certain things, because they tend to set the bar high for the American boys or the foreigners. But anybody else, they don't. So be careful when it comes to that. And a lot of the women don't want to do very much when it comes to taking care of the household. They'll do it in the beginning, but after a couple years, they kind of fall off or get lazy or get too comfortable or whatever. So be careful when it comes to that, because when I first got married, a couple years later, about 2 years later, she started talking about how she wanted to start working, save all her money, and have me pay all the bills. So don't fall for that bullshit. That's kind of common too. So I was asking her, well, if you save all your money and I spend all my money, so what's that all about? But that's kind of common. But don't tolerate that bullshit. Because if she was in Japan, married to a Japanese guy, she would have never even pulled that shit. Those words would have never even came out of her mouth. But they do that shit to foreigners because they know foreigners don't know any better. Most of them don't know any better. But I don't care what it is. If when in doubt, or if you don't like it, don't do it. Don't get seduced or manipulated into doing some shit that you can't see yourself doing long term. So these are just some things that you should consider before you get married. And just put everything on the table and make sure she clearly understands where you coming from and what you expect out of her before y'all get married. And if she has a problem with it or doesn't want to talk about it or totally disagrees with it, that's probably a red flag. And that's probably somebody that you probably don't want to get involved with, because you're going to have a lot of problems. And make sure there's no hidden secrets, things that's going to come out at the last minute. And if they do come out at the last minute, when in doubt, don't do it. So until next time, I'm Mr. Sharp Game. Subscribe to my channel. Until next time, Sharp Game is out. Peace.